boys and girls, this is Mrs. Stone, and we are getting ready for your grammar lesson. We are doing two different lessons today because I remember I told you that we were kind of squishing all of the past, present, and future tense verbs into one lesson because it's pretty easy and you guys have covered this before. And so last week you talked about present tense verbs, and this week we're going to talk about past tense and future tense. But you need to remember that on Friday's quiz, it is going to be a quiz over all of them. It's going to be over past, present, and future tense verbs. But I don't think today's lesson is going to take you very long at all because it's stuff that you've heard before, and it's basically things that sound correct. The biggest thing is you just have to remember the rules on how to spell them. And we've kind of gone over that before, so some of this is going to be just great review. So let's look on page 72, and this is lesson 15 over the past tense verbs. And it says a verb in the past tense tells about an action that already happened, happened in the past. The students elected a class president. I supported one of the candidates. Okay, follow these rules to form the past tense. Okay, now this is where all the spelling part comes in. But we've talked about this basic thing when we talked about adding ES. This time we're just going to be adding ED instead of ES. We're going to make it past tense. So it says add ED to most words. If you have the word help, you add ED. It's just adding ED to a regular spelling. All my friends helped Will. If a verb ends in an E, drop the E and add ED. Now, I know you're sitting here thinking, well, that's just silly. You're really just adding the D. Well, no, you're not, because let me explain why. In the word vote, V-O-T-E, the E is silent. That's the silent E. And so you're actually taking the silent E off. And if you listen, you can hear the ed sound, voted, all right? So that's no longer the silent E. So it's a technicality. When you go out to write it, you're not going to write vote, stop, erase your E, and then add ED. Okay, that's not how you're going to do it if you're just writing it. But you need to know the concept behind it because that leads into basically some of the other rules. So it says, next one says, if a verb ends in a consonant and a Y, change the Y to an I and add ED. We talked about this very same thing when we talked about adding ES. All right, so I look at the word hurry. I see that it is a Y. I see that the letter right before it is a consonant. All right, so I'm going to change the Y to an I and add ED. So they hurried to the voting booth. And then the last one says most verbs that end in one vowel followed by one consonant, double the consonant and add ED. I think that this one is the one that people miss the most. Okay, so if you have the word stop, all right, it ends in a consonant. The letter right before that is a vowel. So what you have to do is before you add the ED, you have to double the P. Now, here is one that people get tripped up on all the time. If I have the word hope, okay, and I want to make it past tense, I'm going to write the word hoped. All right, so I drop the silent E and I add ED. So I spell it H-O-P-E-D. Now, if I have the word hop and I want to make it past tense, hopped, I have to double the P before I add ED. I see that all the time where the bunny hoped into the river. Well, no, he didn't. He hopped into the river. So you have to be just very careful about the word that you're trying to double the letter on. Okay, now let's go ahead, and you guys are old hats at this, and so let's go ahead and look at practice set A. All they want you to do is write the past tense of the verb on the line. I'm going to tell you this again. Spelling does count. Okay, so you have to pay attention to how you spell the word. All right, so let's do the first one together. The word is study. So I see that there is a Y. It is preceded, or before that becomes a consonant D. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the Y, add an I-E-D. Okay, so studied. So this is pretty straightforward. You just have to look at the rules. Okay, so go ahead and do number 2 through 10. And then when you're finished, come back to the video and we will check your answers. Okay, now that you're back, let's go through them and see if you have them right. Now, number 2 is that tricky one where you have to double the N, okay, because it's a short vowel sound in front of the consonant. Double the N and then add ED. So it should be grinned. Number 3 is going to be pushed. Just add the ED to the N. Number 4 is going to be, oh, well, hey, I've got the wrong word there. It's going to be debated, not deleted. Okay, same thing, but do the same thing in both words. So you're technically dropping the silent E off and then adding the ED. So that should be debated and not deleted. Hey, and you know what? Just to make sure that you go along with my video today, why don't you just put a big old circle around number 4, and I'll know that you watched the video with me today. Number 5, reply. So you're going to do the same thing. You see the Y, you're going to drop the Y, change it to an I, and add ED. Okay, number 6, you have the word answered. Pretty straightforward. If you answered the question, you did it in the past, you're just going to add an ED to the end. Number 7, decided. Okay, this is one of those technical ones where it's a silent E, so you technically drop the silent E off and add an ED. Number 8, now, here's a tricky one. Okay, it ends with a Y. I do not change my Y to an I and add ED because I look at the letter right before it and it is a vowel. All right, so you are just going to add an ED. Okay, you have to look at the letter before the Y. If it's a consonant, you change it to an I and add ED. If it's a vowel, you just add an ED. Number 9. Okay, this is one of those. It ends with a consonant, but there's a short vowel before it, so you're going to double the P and add ED. Okay, so that says clapped. If you didn't double the P, it would say claped, and claped is not a word. Okay, you don't, she didn't, let's see, she claped when she went to the theater. No, that's not how you do that. So the word is clapped. And number 10, all right, it's a Y at the end. You have to decide, okay, am I going to add just an ED or am I going to change it to an I and add an ED? I look at the letter right before the Y. I see that it is a consonant, R. So I am going to drop the Y, change it to an I, and add ED. All right, so that was pretty straightforward, and you shouldn't have had any problems with that. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and flip over to page 76, and it should look something like this. Okay, and this is about future tense verbs. Okay, we just talked about past. Last week we talked about present, and this week we're going to be talking about future. So it says on page, what did I say, 76? Yes. It says, a verb in the future tense tells about an action that will happen. The action has not yet occurred. Use the special verb will to form the future tense. All right? So this one's not going to be too hard because you're just adding the word will. So let's take a look. It says the Garcia family will build a new house. Have they done it yet? No. They're going to do it in the future. The builder and the Garcias will discuss the plans. Have they discussed it yet? No. They will discuss it in the future. Okay, the past The present, past, and future tenses are called simple tenses. They tell about action that happens now, in the past and in the future. So, what they've done is they've taken one sentence and they've made it past, present, and future. Okay, so the present tense of Miss Garcia studies the plans. Okay, she's doing it right now, so she studies it. She did it in the past. Miss Garcia studied the plans. Okay, and if she's going to do it in the future, she says Miss Garcia will study the plans. Now, I want you to also notice that that does not say will studies. Okay, you're going to take the word study and just add the word will to it. So that's all we're talking about. It makes sense. It sounds right. You just have to know the rules for when you hit those tricky ones that you cannot figure out. Does that sound right or does that sound wrong? I really can't tell. So that's when you have to really know the rules. So let's go ahead and look at practice set A. Okay, it says read each sentence, underline the verb, circle yes if the verb is future tense, circle no if it's not. This is another easy one. You see why I combined these lessons because they are very, very short. Okay, so let's look at number 1. It says the Garcias like the builder's plan. So we're going to find the verb, and it is like, okay? And I'll say, is it future tense? I'm only looking for future tense. Does it have the word will in front of it? The answer is no, so I circle no. Okay, now, if you do have the word will there, like as in number 2, okay, it says they will call the builder tomorrow. I want you to notice that I underlined both of those words, all right? Both of those words are the complete verb. So you have to underline both of them or it will be wrong. Okay, so when we get to linking verbs and all kinds of stuff like that, that's another skill that you just have to remember, that verbs may be more than one word. So is this happening in the future? Will call? The answer is yes. So go ahead and do the rest of 3 through 10 and then come back and start the video again when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, now that you are back, let's look at number 3. It says he will supervise the workers at the site. So you should have underlined will supervise. That's happening in the future, so you needed to circle yes. Number 4, the builder made a schedule already. Okay, he made it. He did it. So is he going to do it in the future? No, because it's easy because I don't see the word will in front of there. And so he is not doing it in the future, so the answer is no. Number 5 says the schedule shows each part of the project. I don't see it being future because it doesn't have the word will, so the answer is no. Number 6, the whole project will take about 3 months. See the word will? It's happening in the future, so you circle yes. Number 7, many different workers will order supplies. He's going to do it in the future, so the answer is yes. Number 8, they haul supplies in their trucks. The verb is haul. You don't see the word will. It's not happening in the future, so you circle no. Number 9, the family will move in June. That's happening in the future, so you circle yes. And the last one, they will rent a moving truck. And so you should have answered yes. Okay, fairly straightforward. Okay. Past tense, we're looking for adding EDs. Future tense, we're adding the word will. Present tense is happening now. Okay, sometimes you're going to just leave it alone. You're going to add S. So it's fairly straightforward. Okay. We're going to practice a game on Tuesday, and so that will help you. But then you remember you have a quiz over all of it on Friday. So I hope you understand it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you on Tuesday.